there we go. So today, I mean, one of the things that came up when we were talking with people is like the challenge of getting great people. And so I mean, we thought one opportunity here is to, say, learn from people and what has been effective. So we invited Maki, and she's a lead recruiter at Red Seal Recruiting, and they work with trades. Maki and I had a brief conversation a couple weeks ago introducing it, and she seemed like she had some great ideas about kind of what's happening there. So she has a short presentation that she was going to do about what she's found effective, like working with tradespeople in the industry. And then after that, I wanted to open up for discussion. And then there was kind of a question. I'd love to just have a discussion around the question of like, how do we bring people into the glazing industry who are hardworking and motivated and really build up the industry to be successful. So there we go. Maki, I will turn it over to you, and we'll go for some discussions after that.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, everybody can see the screen okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, thanks very much for the introduction there. Just want to make sure I move that over. All right, well, thanks so much again. And thanks everybody here for your time and giving me the opportunity to talk to you on how you can attract and retain the talent so your organization can become the employer of choice and win the war for talent. And as Brent just mentioned, there will be a Q&A at the end, but if you have any pressing questions, just feel free to raise your hand. So Red Seal Recruiting, we are a licensed employment agency specializing in skilled trades and management. And we've been helping employers throughout North America. And I myself have been recruiting in the skilled trade space for the last 10 plus years. And I'm really passionate about getting more people in the skilled trades. As we all know, we need that. And also I'm a licensed foreign worker recruiter in BC. So I just want you to have a quick look at this and see if this sounds familiar to you. Do you have managers, or maybe yourself as a business owner needing to get back on tools? You've had to allocate budget for using contractors. You can't bid for more work because you don't know if you're going to have that workforce. Well, these are actually symptoms of the current climate that we are in. And the candidate market that we're in right now is a candidate-driven one. So you might be posting a job on a job board. Unfortunately, you might be losing staff right now that are moving to your maybe competitor or even to a different industry. And so your company ends up having a little bit of a revolving door scenario. And that can be very costly to your organization. Before you can really understand how much it takes for you to hire, it's really important to understand that there's two things. One, you see above the water, which are the hard costs. And that's really easy to measure, right? So these are things like how much you're going to spend on a job posting, how much money you would spend on relocating a candidate, a signing bonus, or flying a candidate for an on-site interview. But what you don't really see are the soft costs that's under the water, that's not as easily quantifiable. And those things are things like looking through unqualified candidates, the time it takes for you to ramp up your new hire so that individual becomes a contributing member of your company. And lastly, taking time from managers and owners and upper management's time. So when you have that revolving door, not only is it that 40%, it's that 60%, and you need to consider that total cost. So right now, in a candidate-driven market, we are at war for talent. And for you to be competitive, you've got to become the employer of choice. And so there are 4 pillars to becoming the employer of choice: attraction, selection, onboarding, and retention. And each of these pillars deserves its own presentation, but since we're limited for time, I just want to be able to touch upon the attraction and the retention. So you've got a couple of key takeaways so that your company can start the journey on becoming the employer of choice. So these are just very high level of the benefits when your company becomes the employer of choice. You get more candidates, therefore you are able to select a higher quality new hire for your organization. As a result, everybody is doing what they're supposed to be doing, and the team morale goes up. And you have the ability to bid for more work, which is going to increase your profit. So why is it so important for you to become the employer of choice? Well, we have a supply and demand issue here. We know that we have far more jobs available than the candidates. By 2028, 700,000 skilled tradespeople will be retiring in Canada. And you think that we have apprentices that's going to fill the gap. But the Canadian Apprenticeship Forum, they have stated by 2025, they're going to be short by 60,000 apprentices. And sure, we've got lots of grants, and I'm sure you've seen those, right? Where you can get more apprentices. But the completion rate right now for apprenticeship is 36%. So the struggle is real. And I want to make sure that in that 5-year time, you are ahead of the game and you're able to become that employer choice. So that next glazier that's looking for the next opportunity, that individual is thinking about your company. So here are some common myths. The best candidates are found through job posting. Not the case. Recruiting is a one-time event. Not the case. Recruiting is solely HR's responsibility. HR will tell you not the case. And the highest salary offer will attract the best candidates. And surprisingly, not the case. And do you know where you can find your best candidates? They're working right now. And so how are you going to attract those candidates? So pillar number 1 is attraction. I had mentioned that HR shouldn't be the only recruiting department in your organization. If you have an employee referral program, you're getting everybody in your organization to work towards the same goal, which is to get more candidates for your company. And in this candidate-driven market, cutting and pasting your job description and posting that onto your job board, that's not going to cut it. People are looking for opportunities. Therefore, you have to sell on that. And so I challenge you to come up with an answer to this. Why would any glazier that's currently doing the exact same role at a different company leave that company to join yours to do the exact same position? When you can fine tune that, that's your selling pitch, and you've got to put that into your job ad. You've got to understand the candidate market. If you are targeting a certain sector of, say, high schoolers to join the apprenticeship program, you got to be able to communicate to them, making sure you're using the platform to find them. And texting, that is something that you've got to use during the recruitment communication. It's going to cost, it's actually, it will result in a higher response rate. Cast a wider net. And what I mean by that is you got to think out of the box. You got to find a way to get more candidates considering your company. And I'll give you an example. As an association, you could sponsor an event at the local high school or middle school. And I've spoken to the district principal at SD62, and he told me that he cannot work with one individual company to sponsor an event, but he can work with an association. And you know what? That actually benefits everybody. because that is going to elevate your trade, and to get that trade ahead of your other industry competitors. And so when they graduate or near graduation, they're going to be thinking of your trade. Pillar number 4 is retention. So now you've invested all this time and effort, you better make sure you're keeping them. At the bare minimum, you should be doing a 30, 60, 90-day check-ins. Employees want to be heard. They want to be valued. If you don't have those check-ins,
Hi,
then
this is Sudhesh Sharma calling. I would like to make an appointment with the doctor.
you have to have those check-ins. Now, we talked about the candidate market. You have to understand what they want right now. Often we talk to candidates and they're not looking for the highest wage. They want to know what kind of compensation you have. So look at your current offering to see if it's to the market, and also if it's something that everybody in the organization is using. And lastly, hire metrics. Hire metrics are things like, it's a report card. And one of the things that you could do that you can measure is where you're finding your best talent. And that's how you can put your resources to making sure that's where you can find out the best resources and invest in that space. So if it's a career fair, that's where you're getting the best apprentices. That's where you should be putting your resources towards. And so your workforce is your greatest resource. We all know this. And you've got to outshine your competitors. The whole industry is a war for talent. It's not just your sector. And so to win and to be competitive, you've got to use those 4 pillars, which are the foundations for you to become the employer choice. Here's my contact info. If you have anything specific that you want to talk about, feel free to reach out to me, but I will open the floor to Q&A.